heart's running away with your head.
Now what are we gonna do?
Come on. I've thought it all out. It just wouldn't work. It just isn't done that way. Overdo it. Love you more than life itself.
Anyway, I just kind of wanted to do that. Anyway, my name is Gatorade, and my weekend, oh my goodness, my weekend was just absolutely crazy. I mean, I went on a journey with my owner, Eli, and my journey with Eli was just really, really crazy, and I will tell you guys all of it right now. And yes, before you make any jokes, I am a pig, and I don't really have a body, and mostly my body is just a stick and all that stuff. And sometimes it's kind of hard for me to walk and all that stuff. But anyway, I will definitely tell you guys what happened on this really crazy journey of mine. Anyway, here we go. So anyway, as the weekend officially kicked off, my owner Eli got up from bed and he took a shower, and as he was like taking a shower, he got dressed and all that stuff. And I actually found out that he was actually going to hang out with his friends, I think. And so anyway, I was like really excited about that. And so as he was eating breakfast, I actually snuck into his backpack. And so then as I hopped into his backpack, the road was really bumpy, and I found out that like he was on a bus, heading somewhere. And he was like, and I think he was like dancing inside the bus as well. And unfortunately, every time he was dancing, like I would feel, like the vibrations of the bus, like inside the backpack, and I'd be like, whoa, whoa, oh no, ah, ah. So then as we got off the bus, my owner Eli was really, really hungry, and unfortunately, he didn't really eat any breakfast, when he got up, So for lunch, we actually went out for sushi, And when we walked in there, like we walked into Sushi Land, and it smelled really good in there. Like there was a lot of fresh sushi being made and all that stuff, and unfortunately, though, my owner Eli, unfortunately, he wasn't really smart, and unfortunately, the waitress that served him, she kind of unfortunately wasn't really nice to him, and unfortunately, a lot more trouble would happen as well. Like as we sat down, my owner Eli was so hungry that he started eating like 30 plates of sushi. Like he ate more plates of sushi one after another. I think I even ate like more sushi. I think I ate like 50 plates of sushi as well. And so anyway, then what happened was as my owner Eli was done eating all the sushi, he was just really, really full. And so then another waiter came by, and then he saw the 50 plates of sushi all stacked up on the table, and then he was like, "Oh my god, 50 plates of sushi, that's gotta be a Sushi Land record." And so then what happened was then there was like one really mean-spirited girl that sat by Eli, and unfortunately she was not very nice to him, and she like mocked him a lot just because of the 50 plates of sushi. So then what happened was my owner Eli grabbed a piece of sushi and smacked the sushi in her face, and then she fell down on her back. And then what happened was that a lot of people saw that, and then all of a sudden a food fight started, and then one guy saw it, and he was like, "Food fight!" And so anyway, then as the food fight was starting and there was a bunch of chaos everywhere and people were throwing sushi at each other and people were, and then like Stuart was like running out of the Sushi Land, and then there was like and then the waitress that didn't like him, she got really mad at him, and unfortunately she kicked him in the balls, and then he fell down, and so then what happened was she's like, "You don't pay for your sushi," and then he was like, "Oh boy," and so then he like ran out, but like he gave her like a $100 bill, and he like started running, and then the boyfriend of the mean-spirited girl, saw him running, and then her boyfriend started chasing him around Redmond, and they started like chasing, and he was like chasing him, for like 2 hours, and unfortunately he like jumped over a car as well. So anyway, then what happened was, Eli was like the boyfriend, kept on chasing Eli, and so then Eli was like running around, Redmond like a crazy person. And so then like as he was running, then he like saw the trail by like Sam River Trail in Redmond, and he was like on that trail, and he was like running like a crazy person, and then the boyfriend kept on chasing him around. And so then what happened was like Eli saw a bike, and unfortunately he stole someone's bike, and he started driving the bike on the trail, and he was like going really fast, and he was going really fast, and he was like laughing, going like ah. And so then he wasn't like paying attention, and so he accidentally fell into the river, and he was like ah, and then he like went off the rip, and then he like landed in the river, and then there was like a huge splash. So anyway, then what happened was then Eli came out of the river, and unfortunately he came out of the river, and he was like all soaking wet and all that stuff, and his clothes were just dripping wet, and I was also wet as well, and unfortunately, the boyfriend of the mean-spirited girl back at Sushi Land, well, sadly, he unfortunately got arrested, mainly because, he also jumped into the river as well, but it was also because, well, he also stole somebody's car as well to chase after Eli, and, yeah, it was pretty bad, but anyway, then what happened was Eli just kept resting up, around the park in Redmond, and he actually fell asleep for 3 hours, while he was in the park, and he started having a lot of really, really, really crazy daydreams as well. So anyway, then after Eli was done sleeping, he then took the bus to Bellevue, and he like got off around like the Overlake Transit Center, and then as he got off, he started going to the racetrack that was like in Overlake, I believe, and so then as like he got there, he was he unfortunately, he sat down like kind of like by a tree, I think, and unfortunately he was like on Tinder, and as he was on Tinder, like he was just looking at like a bunch of girls and all that stuff, and he was hitting like and dislike and all that stuff, and he kept on saying a lot of very silly things like, okay, I could work with that, or I don't know, I could work with that. And then he kept singing the song, good time, gonna be a good time, gonna be a good time, la 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 la. And he was like, good time, gonna be a good time, gonna be a good time, da la la la, good time. And so anyway, he just like kept on singing that song like all the time, and singing good time and changing the words and remixing it and all that stuff. And then a lot of people coming out of the racetrack, saw him, on his phone and on Tinder, and they were looking at him going like, what the? and they started making like strange faces and all that stuff, and so then, he was sitting down, and then his friend saw him, and his friend started shaking his head and all that stuff. I mean, it was just like really crazy. But we're not done. Then, they went inside the racetrack, and unfortunately my owner Eli, he was hitting on the girls inside the racetrack, and he was kind of acting goofy and all that stuff. I think he even slapped one of their butts or something. It was just really, really bad, and Eli was just really crazy that night as well. So anyway, then what happened was, as they got on the racetrack, my owner Eli and his friends, they got on the racetrack, and at first, Eli didn't really know how to drive a race car, and unfortunately, he pressed his foot on the pedal, and then unfortunately, like, he started going like really fast, like on the racetrack, and he was like going like, ah, and then the car was going like room, 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 and then what happened was, like, he was going so fast that he accidentally went off a ramp, and so then, like, he went off the ramp, and he was going like really high up in the air and all that stuff, and he was going like, ah, 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 and so then there was like this one grandma going like, Harold, did you hear something? And so anyway, Eli kept on falling down, and he slammed into the one grandma's car. He was going like, ah! And it was like bang, and then he crashed into the car. It was like boom, bang, and then it's so funny. All his friends, they were like, Eli, and so then what happened was, then Eli had another dream inside of his head, while he was being knocked out, and unfortunately in the dream, there was just a lot of fantasies and all that stuff. I mean, Eli was even talking to Lou Rawls in his dream and getting dating advice from him and all that stuff, and Lou Rawls going like, bruh, oh my god, man, why did you do that, man? I mean, I don't know, man. So unfortunately, Lou Rawls sent him back to reality, and that's when Eli got up. And so anyway, after go-kart racing, then one of Eli's friends actually drove him home, and unfortunately Eli almost missed the bus and all that stuff, and unfortunately, he almost fell asleep on the bus and almost, did not make it, make his bus stop. And so what happened was, he ran out of the bus, and he jumped out of the bus, and he landed on his feet, and so then he started running and all that stuff. And anyway, how the story ends is that he actually missed his bus, but thankfully though, his girlfriend picked him up, and anyway, his girlfriend picked him up, and she drove him home, and he got some something from her and all that stuff. And so yeah, that is basically the story in a nutshell, and I was able to make it home just fine. So anyway, that is just the story in a nutshell. Eli was just on his journey, to his friend, hanging out with his friend and with his go-kart race and all that stuff. But unfortunately, he crashed into a grandma's car, and then there was a sushi food fight inside of Sushi Land in Redmond, and him, running around the Redmond Park, around the Sam River Trail and all that stuff. I mean, it was just a very, very, very wild ride. That, and also, he also sang the song Good Times as well. And I think, unfortunately, he still has that song stuck in his head to this day. And, yeah, so anyway, I am Gatorade the Pig, and I hope all of you guys have a very wonderful night, and also a very wonderful weekend. Bye-bye, everybody.
Produced by EPI.